Today's episode is sponsored by Skillshare. Degraded Universal logo around a post-apocalyptic Earth complete with gaps made by shifting plates in the Tet in orbit.
We built the Tet.
In case it wasn't clear, the Tet is short for tetrahedron, which that's the shape.
March 14th, 2077. A temporary space station before the migration to Titan.
2077? Ooh, I got some bad news about Titan, man. Tom Cruise's workout routine.
Mission says we have done well, that we are an effective team. It's been half a century since the scavengers destroyed our moon.
The setup for this movie is so solid. One last warning on spoilers because it's more fun to assume you've all seen this as we go through. It's still a fun movie even if it's spoiled, so whatever. Their memories and lives were constructed from a few basic things the AI observed in the span of a few minutes. The picture that looks loving was actually just an awkward coincidence. It's clear Vika has feelings for Jack, we'll get into that later. But it's also clear Jack is conflicted. This all could have gone differently if they had paired Jack with Julia, but he was always going to feel like something was wrong, something, someone was missing.
Vika can't wait to go. Me, I'm not so sure.
Even the way he introduces Vika.
Vika's my communications officer.
Not wife, girlfriend, partner, friend with benefits. While we're here with the title card, it's time for a CinemaWins Word of the Week, because Oblivion has two different definitions. The first applies to what we're told the movie is about, but the second is what the movie is actually about. Notice there's no American flags on the ship, just Tet triangles everywhere. Not even a UN logo on his uniform or anything Earth-related at all, just Tet. There is only Tet. I love that you can just assume future tech, but once you look deeper, you realize it's not that simple. Human or not, it's still a win. Yep. Every piece of this film's science fiction visual language is stunning, mixing post-apocalypse with bright futuristic tech. Like there's hope under the surface, but it's actually the opposite.
Tech 49.
Jack's alive!
What happened? I lost you for a second.
Really?
Tom Cruise is always a win. It always seems to be his doofy faces that get it. I'm sorry, but I won't apologize for loving Tom Cruise. And how about the sound design for the drones? Realistic, unsettling, machine, but still filled with personality.
Tech 49 Jack Harper.
Another scene that goes both ways. Drones are killing tools with a yes-no protocol, the assumption being they just shoot anything moving unless it can identify itself as friendly, but actually humans are the primary target. Tom, we've got a sci-fi movie for you. You get to fly in a futuristic bubble ship with laser guns. Will there be a motorcycle? Well, no, it's the future. We've got a hover ship. So what if the ship had a bike on it? I don't know, it's super future-y. Biker I walk. I'm being a jerk, but movies like this that have kind of wishy-washy reviews often have a bunch of stuff like, Tom needed a motorcycle, so even though his ship would make more sense, he hops on a motorcycle. So I'm going to be doing some defense of the indefensible in this one, but most of it isn't indefensible, you just need to connect a few dots that weren't spelled out. Things such as, he's allowed fun and a change of scenery, but more importantly, being close to the ground would help his radar pick up the drone signal since it was underground. Sure, it's something that happens quite a bit. Man, that's a nuclear submarine with every missile door open. Makes sense. Balance win? Optimism. Again, I feel like those are not the sounds humans would give that drone.
Jack Harper, Tech 49.
For the record, this is 166, the same drone he repaired from before. Probably why he was confused it didn't clear him immediately. But again, it wants to kill humans. Also, notice the book was clearly placed for him, continuing to test him as part of this trap.
Come on. Oh my God. Bike!
Whoops, slipped in the recording of Tom after he was told he was only getting one bike scene. You know, I'm equally terrified and supremely jealous of this house at the same time. That counts for something. Horatius shadowing.
Can it fly?
Oh, barely. And without armor, she's a sitting duck.
Well, I'll talk to Sally about that shielding in the morning.
It's almost as if the Tet would want a drone in the house that could fly, but they'd never send out without shielding, and maybe Sally just never sends those parts.
Where did you get this?
That quick moment of, oh, is she thrilled? Nope, terrified. Yeah, it's growing on me. Okie dokie, let's talk about M83. M83 is always a win. The score blends Zimmer's Inception score with Daft Punk's Tron Legacy score to create an epic, orchestral, but still synthy, momentous score. And that makes sense since M83's Anthony Gonzalez worked with Joseph Trapanese, who had previously worked with Daft Punk on Tron Legacy, Joseph Kaczynski's other movie. But I'd almost say the score is the centerpiece while the visuals complement it like a music video. Love the explosion shown out of focus at first, letting Jack run into the field of focus. Are these like advanced Anasazi cliff dwellings? Oh, I get it now. They got buried and then earthquakes exposed them again. That's unsettling. So that would be over 1,200 feet of dirt covering New York City? Just in case you were wondering how Jack got his gun back, he had to. Of course the aviators show up after he loses his bike. Of the increasing greenery as he gets closer to the oasis. And look, I'm not going to spend 10 hours trying to see if this is possible from an ecological standpoint. It's implied that the probably new mountains created a shield to help things grow and be a more hospitable environment. Ha! A book about the lead up to the French Revolution would be another good book for the scavs to make sure Jack reads. See, I knew he'd love him. And there's the Sports Illustrated covering the game with the Hail Mary Jack missed because he was in Delta sleep. Led Zeppelin dropping truth bombs on Jack's head. Plus, it's the song that Sally used to wake him up from Delta sleep.
Good morning, Odyssey.
I'm ordering you to pull out and return to the tower immediately.
Touching down.
What does he think, he's some kind of maverick? Love the slight tilt off center from the bubble ship because of the extra weight. Why didn't Julia immediately say who she is? Well, to start, she's super groggy and confused after a 60-year nap. Second, her husband's co-pilot just introduced her husband to her. She didn't know Julia's name, and this statement would make no sense.
But none of your crew survived.
Since Julia would assume she's looking at 2 other survivors.
A lot's changed in 60 years.
And Vika definitely remembers more than she pretends.
Space station getting ready to go. We're here for security and drone maintenance.
This is really one of the few problems I have with this movie. He's repeating his introduction narration, meaning it could have been left out. I understand the need to hammer it into the audience's heads that they're the good guys so we don't even question it, and personally I enjoy sci-fi opening narrations. Also, I would never give up these opening visuals. But they could have gotten more of the same information across through visuals and then let this be an appropriate and necessary info dump. Although to be fair, I read a bunch of reviews after writing this and I guess critics were still super confused by the plot, so maybe it was the right call. Her husband just told her a totally insane fake story and now he's holding hands with her teammate. Yeah, appropriate reaction.
We don't know who she is or what she is.
Yeah, I mean, she could be an evil alien-created human clone. Ooh, and the moon debris slowly spreading out over time in Earth's orbit. Sometimes you just need to win a sunrise. Careful, John, the spider robots are coming. Only Jack reflected in Morgan's glasses.
Vocal scrambling. Can you hear me, Jack? Keeps your drones confused.
And that explains why they'd run around like this as well.
So we decided, what the hell, gotta throw the long ball.
Someone was listening to Jack's story. Seems like they've done this before. One guy gets it facing away from the other 2, the next guy fires a second shot to force it to split targets, and the third guy gets the kill shot. Obviously, the Kingslayer gets that shot. Aw, for me? Dang it, I left my glasses back at the house.
It was a research flight to Titan.
Why were they in Delta sleep for a short trip to the Tet? They weren't. They were going to Titan, and then the Tet appeared, but it was still 39 days away.
That object was the Tet, Jack. Look through here. And I'll show you the future.
Hey, and then that came true. Oh, probably not how he planned. So that's an impossible shot. Where's the camera, Jack?
We're not an effective team.
And everything starts to slowly reveal itself. Vika had blinded herself to maintain this life, but if you're not an effective team, you're both dead. By the way, in case you were wondering why Jack never checked any dead scav bodies and found out they were human, you have to identify them by just their ash. Julia to the rescue. Callback? Yeah, sure. Okay, sensors that paint a 3D image for targeting. Some of the coolest tech I've seen in this movie so far. Clearly it's personal for 166. And a cliche dodge. When a ship turns sideways to go through a small crevice in the mountains, it's always to get the chasing ship to crash behind them. Not so much this time since the drone can just fly straight up.
I'm gonna die!
No! Maybe.
Just not by radiation. Anti-stormtrooper aim. Also, this ending to this set piece is super over the top and fun. Looks like he's moving fast, but it's uphill. It's tough to call it a sprint. Why wouldn't Jack 52 see Jack 49 on his radar? They have all kinds of sophisticated DNA tracking. Well, for exactly the reason you'd think. The same reason the Earth is split into zones. The insinuation that each irradiated zone is just an inhabitable zone for a different clone, because the Tet doesn't want 52 to know 49 exists. It's not hard to believe they wouldn't show up on each other's radar. It's that scene from Mission Impossible, but only Tom Cruise is instead. Finally, Jack Reacher gets to use a little KC fighting style against Joseph Donnelly's bare knuckle brawling. Ha! Triangle lock. Really taking that whole tetrahedron thing to heart. Why didn't Jack use 166 for the suicide mission? This is why. The gum was obviously a temporary fix, and now that he's removed the fuel cell again, the gum fix wouldn't work anymore. Still not an all-out sprint. And oh man, do I love the slight variations, as if each Jack is a natural selection trial to see which one lasts the longest. Maybe lighter decor with mustard couches will keep him happier for a few more weeks. Or the picture on display rather than in his locker.
You won't believe what's down there.
Honesty.
Can we not do this again? I'm done talking about it.
This is first and foremost a signal to us, the audience, that 52 is also a questioner and has asked Vika to go down before. You could intuit that all Jack clones eventually asked their Vikas to come down. Beach made it clear that 49 was special, but he didn't say one of a kind. Alright, I think it's just really hard to full-on sprint in sand, so let's be honest, Tom Cruise sprints like a champ. Ah, the old instant healing, no pain after a bullet wound wand. What? It's the future.
You look like
You should see the other guy.
Clone jokes.
no soul, no humanity.
Why didn't Army Jacks question their reality surrounded by thousands of other Jacks? The no humanity line is meant to say they weren't the same types of clones, just mindless killing machines. I can easily see the Tet trying to send these same mindless ones down for repairs and realizing they needed the humanity. Okay, now this is some fun camera work inside a digital recreation for only a 15-second take that feels much longer, following the drone around for an exhilarating shot. The hideout may be an actual library, but I love the simple touch that the humans seem to have been collecting human artifacts like sculptures and paintings and pottery to preserve their culture. Brutal. Jamie to the rescue! Hey! Be my bait. You know, it's weird I never came up with a recurring win for Tom getting exploded away from things in all the Mission Impossible movies, because it's definitely a thing. Fun fact about Olga, she's 5'9". That's it. Love. And M83 score picking up again. No, seriously though, this score. Slick match cut transition to the past. And seeing an American flag now makes it very evident there haven't been any in the movie.
One for history.
Yep. Alright, I think it's time we talk about what has become my favorite part of this movie because it's mostly under the surface, even if it's pretty sad. The tragedy of Vika, the love story that was never meant to be. As I mentioned, in this quick flashback we see that she clearly has unrequited feelings for Jack. Through the movie it's clear she really cares for him. It's never spelled out what her memory flashes might be, she appears to recognize Julia, but the same way that Jack still loves Julia, even without her presence, you better believe Vika remembers her love for Jack. And while he has to wait for sleep to see Julia, Vika's living her dream. This is
Another day in paradise.
even that quick glance. A life in paradise above the clouds in a swanky, secluded modern house, no less. Every action she takes makes sense in hindsight, even her possessiveness of him.
Well, I can't have you.
And defensiveness when Julia shows up. The questions Jack asks,
She doesn't.
ignorance is bliss for her. She wants to go to Titan to keep them together and for things to stay the same. Her strict adherence to the rules is to avoid jeopardizing this setup. It's why she always dodges tough questions.
They were trying to catch me.
She immediately pivots to skinny dipping. She even covers for him when he goes off course because she needs Sally to think they're still an effective team. Even Vika 52 doesn't notice Jack 49 isn't her Jack because she just wants to be with Jack. It only falls apart once Jack remembers the truth and she learns there's no hope for them. And the tragedy is sealed when she chooses Oblivion over reality. Both versions, actually.
Things you need to know.
I don't want to know!
Even the tight crop on Sally done by the Tets, they didn't have to either fake the people in the background or expose that it was a chopped up recording. And I'm not sure which it is, it could be a deep fake or it could be a Bart Simpson re-edit. Why did it take this section of the Odyssey 60 years to get back to Earth? Well, it was just slowly making its way back, but it would go into orbit around Earth eventually.
It's programmed for reinsertion into Earth orbit.
And then the scabs learned how to bring it down and did so.
Buck up on me. They'll go all shaky on me.
Ha! 'Cause he's a bobblehead. Hey, Bob! I get it now.
I'm picking up the second passenger, Jack.
I'm gonna expound on this later, but a big complaint is why didn't Sally / the Tet know that Julia wasn't the one in the pod? Well, it's clear she's just scanning for warm bodies when he's outside the Tet, and then it's not until Jack gets in that the drone scans him that she mentions his heart rate.
Your respiration and heart rate have increased. You are lying to me, Jack. Tell me why you are here.
I want Julia to live. I want our species to survive. This is the only way.
Ha! That's a Marta level lie. Ever heard of any other shapes, Sally? Julia is in Jack's pod from the crash ship. Since the drones were only killing humans, not just shooting pods, it'd be fine. And Beach is either in Vicka's or Julia's, since Vicka wouldn't have been in hers either.
I created you, Jack. I am your god.
Pride before the fall, old Sal girl. Blasphemy, too.
You, Sally.
Mission accomplished. And self-sacrifice. Ah, the mothership cliche to the rescue. To be fair, it always makes the most sense with AI.
Who's that?
Well...
I am Jack Harper. And I am home.
Aw, he got to fulfill his... their hope.
I can't shake the feeling that Earth, in spite of all that's happened, is still my home.
Did I mention M83 is always a win? And the addition of Susan Sunford's voice isn't hurting anything. Oblivion is another movie on my list of I liked it when I saw it, wasn't sure why people didn't like it, and over the years it's one I come back to and enjoy. But per usual, after dissecting it like this, learning that the Sky Tower was filmed in camera with a giant wraparound screen and 19 projectors of clouds and sunset footage from Haleakala, a place I've been, learning that M83 is the reason I love the score so much, and listening to how excited Tom Cruise always is for his movies, yeah, I love it even more now. I know it's a bit cliche that Tom gets excited about things, but he really does, and it's why that comes through in his performance. I always found Jack's itch that something wasn't right to be very realistic. I won't say relatable, but, well, this might be TMI, but maybe people in serious relationships can relate. Do you ever have dreams where your significant other isn't there, or even that you're in a different house, and you don't consciously notice it at first, but something feels off, and then towards the end you start to realize something is terribly wrong? I usually wake up at this point, and if I don't, I end up running around the dream trying to find Julia or trying to force myself to wake up. Even if our conscious brains don't know, it's like our souls do.
If we have souls, they are made of the love we share.
No, just me. Either way, I love the idea that you can't erase love because it goes beyond our memories. I think I covered most of the biggest problems people had. The AI using humans at all seems to be a head scratcher for a lot of people. I think it's as simple as using the dominant species on the planet. They're going to be the most successful. Rather than build repair robots for the drones, just clone the inhabitants of the planet they're sucking dry and use them. If you have access to cloning tech, why wouldn't you? Well, but let's talk about that. Another one of the biggest complaints I've read a few times from critics and general audience members alike is one that frustrates me. This assumption that anyone or anything, in this case an AI, would be all-powerful and all-knowing. Why do we assume that? That's not what the movie tells us about the Tet. It specifically used humans to repair its drones. It's precisely the ingenuity that Jack shows when repairing 166 with the gum to stop a part from slipping out of alignment that the Tet neither understood or predicted. This deception says more about what makes humans special. It's not a uniquely new idea, but Oblivion examines it in a fun way. What makes us human? What makes us us? Is it our DNA, our memories, or the emotions we experience?
I'm not him.
Why did OG Jack's memories push through 49 and 52's memory wipe? The power of love? I mean, yeah, I think so. Everything that turned out to make Jack a good repairman, an effective team with Vicka, were the things that led to their demise. As I mentioned, I think that we're meant to believe the thousands of Jack clones that come out of the ship were like base-level reduced-function brain clones. They were fine as cannon fodder, they didn't question anything, fine. But once the Tet started to attempt to use them for drone repair, they weren't thinking, they could only follow direction. I can see this timeline over a few decades where they keep creating the clones closer and closer to the original. The closer you get, the more ingenuity and problem solving they display, but also the more questions they ask. So they had to build a ruse, a modern skytop home, a companion, a backstory, a mission, and a goal. All the things that drive humans forward. The island toyed with this idea as well, that humans need certain things to thrive and do human things, which again brings us full circle back to our innate desire to be free, to protect those we love, and to be willing to sacrifice ourselves in ways a cold thinking machine could probably never comprehend. Too much? I don't think so. I tend to end these, hey, but there's philosophical stuff in here rants with a, but it's also a fun action sci-fi wrap-up statement. And this time is no different. It's fun, drone-chasing, bubble ship flying, Tommy Boy looking future tech excitement. And you can watch it solely for that. And if writing content like this that people will enjoy and want to share on the internet is something you want to learn or get better at, today's sponsor Skillshare has a class just for you. Matt Belisai, you probably know him from his show To Be Honest or his podcast Unhappy Hour, but he has a course on Skillshare right now all about gaining traction online. online. It's all about writing for the internet, exactly how to get started, from Twitter to writing specifically for video. It can be helpful for writers, comedians, or people who just want to build a social media presence. It's a fun class, and if you don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community where you can learn from real people who are successful in the things they're teaching. Everything from film and video, photography, creative writing, and so much more. And you can get access to all of it every class for only $10 a month. But today, the first 500 of my subscribers to click the link at the top of the description will get 2 months for free. So check it out, there's something for everyone.
I know I'm dreaming, but it feels like more than that.
Open your eyes. Open your eyes.